Hi there, Dave from Maguire Industries. Um, Cricket is a brutal game in that once you're out, you're out, and it can be frustrating if you aren't out there making runs and are out cheaply. I've just started playing again after 10 years off, and in an effort to make up for lost time, I wanted to drill my shots as much as possible and make sure I was as effective as I could be once I got out into the middle. I live in Auckland, New Zealand, and about an hour north of here there's a facility with a self-feeding bowling machine which you can hire. And I did a couple of sessions there, and it was immensely helpful. And then I thought to myself, well, what if I could have more ready access to such a machine, or even a more basic version, and just make sure all my shots are as watertight as they can be, and then really make the most of this season. So I made one. Here's a bit of an overview and the process, and I'll kind of give you what I reckon about it at the end, and in case you were thinking about making one. But it's pretty good. Here we go. So first up, I needed to find some wheels that would be suitable. The wheels spin in opposite directions, and the ball goes between and is thrown that way. This hand track from Supercheap Auto had good size wheels at 360mm, which would give the best speed for the given RPM of the motors. It also came with some handy donor steel in the frame that I was able to use to make the sort of chassis of the bowling machine. As you can see there, it's got some flat plates, which I've drilled holes for the motors to mount to. The motors are two 24 volt, 70 watt DC motors, which are good because they're suitable for continuous duty and they're relatively efficient, plus they can run off a battery. All up, pretty good. So you can see the motor has been successfully mounted, and the other will be exactly the same. The other process next is to grind down the shafts a bit so that they'll fit inside the hollow tube that will form the main shaft. A good way to do this as a backyard engineer is to have the motor turning while it goes so that you get a concentric reduction in its size. So you can see there, grind a little bit as straight as you can and check with your vernier calipers as you go, and then battery back on for a bit more grinding. With that out the way, the hollow main shafts were able to fit over the motor shafts. Then the wheels slipped on over the top of that. Due to the extreme hardness of the motor shafts, it wasn't possible to drill through for grub screws, so ended up putting a tack of weld between motor shaft and hollow shaft to wheel, which was a pretty good compromise in the end. Then it was time for a test run. This first one, you can hear my supportive, long-suffering wife in the background, and then added a little bit of angle line as a guide, as that ultimately is what's going to give the accuracy. Now, lots of little boring things had to be added, like that top brace with bearings for each shaft, and a car door lock actuator with a return spring, which when it pulls back, it will let a ball through, as seen there. Now things were getting exciting. We had wheels spinning. Here I'm testing the timings for how long the little ball feeder should pull back for. Ended up with 120 milliseconds, and that proved it could bowl. Coming around to the front, we'll just have a look too at some little ball guides that I put in. The wheels are a little bit high on the ball, so it kind of forces it down into this channel for greater accuracy. And now Dave will run you through the control box. Over to you, Dave. This contains the batteries and everything required to control it. Over here we've got a master on-off switch. Let's turn those right down to start with. So that comes on, we get a voltage readout there of what the batteries are at. This here is a bowl switch, so you switch that on, after 18 seconds it'll start bowling every 8 seconds. That's like a manual test button, so that you can just fire off one ball if you want to check how things are aligned, and these two are the speed controls. So yeah, one for each wheel, and a big plug to connect everything. In here we have two batteries. I've got a third battery which is actually redundant now. I was going to run it at 36 volts for a bit more speed, but I think 24 is enough, and 36 seems to cause a lot of unpleasant shakes and stuff. So it's a bit of a mess at the moment, still needs to be cleaned up. That's the circuit breaker, which comes straight off the battery to be as safe as possible. We have here starting over here, 24 to 12 converter, which goes to this car charger unit, which then there's an Arduino packed in there and a relay that's to trigger the ball release. 2 motor speed controllers, just cheap ones, they're about $15 each. And down there you can see the back of the voltmeter ammeter device. Now finally, here it is actually set up on the stand. So you can see that's a speaker stand, and the green part is a roller pole extension for painting, but it was a cost-effective way to get some adjustment for the back there. You can just twist that and change the length, and thus change the length of the ball, and it slots into a cut channel in the back piece of pipe on the top unit. So the big question, was it all worth it? Yes. Yep. It's Christmas holidays at the moment, and I've been using it for an hour a day or 2, and it's been really, really good. Though a bit, maybe a bit much for the old 31-year-old body, but no, it's been great. I'll talk you through it over some footage so you can see it actually going. So I've done a lot of shot practice with this. Something I identified as I've been out a couple of times this season to the pull shot. Getting a little bit hurried up on it, and I think maybe I've come back to the game with a little bit of a fear of the ball. So nothing like a few lots of 12 balls in a row to the face, and just getting very comfortable with that and making sure I'm middling them hopefully into the ground. Yeah, and as you can see, the accuracy is pretty good. Like, it's repeatable in the same place over and over again. I figured the best way to set this up after a bit of experimentation is 2/3 of the way down the pitch, because it's not that fast. I had planned to run it at 36 volt, but 24 volts I think is about 80 k's maximum speed. So this way you still get rushed onto it a little bit, and get the realism, but you keep the accuracy, and yeah, it's been good. Now, a great thing about having a bowling machine or using one is that you can adjust if it's accurate enough, you can put it all in one spot. Like, this is back of a length, something I've struggled to make the decision whether to pull or play back foot drives, particularly this is sort of aiming on a sort of off stump line. So trying to develop a bit more instinct around playing that. While I don't have video of this too, another great place to build instinct is playing off the front foot. Pitching it up and getting your front foot right next to the ball and playing forward pays to set up the bowling machine at the other end of the net, so you don't have to keep fetching balls, plus extra motivation not to miss. Okay, and then in this one I've just changed out the length a little bit more to practice back foot drives. At this point, a kid and his dad arrived to have a bit of a net session, so I went to go move my dog. With the machine still running, you can get an idea of the accuracy, and it's not as good as the bowling machines, particularly they would be about this good on a full length pitch, I'd say. But it's good enough, I think this is the crucial thing for bowling machines, good enough that you know whether you're meant to be coming forward or back, and roughly what the line's going to be. They're useful, I think, more as a way of building muscle memory rather than being like a match play simulator. So you know the ball's coming roughly there, you can commit to your shot and just build it into your brain so it happens by instinct in the future. Now you might be wondering what actually holds the balls, and it is this length of downpipe, just 80mm PVC, which is a snug fit on the balls. It's got just a bolt at the bottom end to stop the balls falling out, and you fill it up as you see I'm doing here, and then put it into the middle feeder chute, and it will self-feed from there. I think more capacity would be useful. It lets you build more of a groove of it, how 20 balls or more like the bowler self-feeders do, but still enough to get a bit of a groove going. Alright, well that's it. I hope you enjoyed it. Let me know if you're going to try and build one and you have any questions about specific things. I can definitely help out with that. Otherwise, yeah, happy cricketing. Till next time.